Hey, what's up, everybody? A couple of more options that I've been hearing about in regards to Dennis Schroeder's sign and trade possibilities. So the Chicago Bulls are interested, and as I said to you guys, if we were to sign and trade to the Bulls, I had a guess that it would probably be Thaddeus Young. I was right. Thaddeus Young would be the guy, and either Troy Brown Jr. or Thomas Satoransky. That's one option. The other option they're mulling over is Laurie Markkinen would go to the Kings. We would get Buddy Hield. Schroeder would go to the Bulls. And that would be the end of the dealings in that situation. That's the second one. The third one would be sending um, sending Schroeder to the Dallas Mavericks for either Maxi Kleba, Dorian Finney-Smith, or possibly even both of those guys. So I don't know how that works. I think if it's only one of them, then we'd probably take back some picks or something. I'm not sure, but that's what it said. Either one or both. Um, or we can send them to Minnesota for Malik Beasley. Um, so to be completely honest with you, uh, I like the Beasley deal. I like the Buddy Yield deal that sends Markin into the Kings. I think that makes sense. Um, Thaddeus Young and Troy Brown Jr. as Thomas Satoransky. To be honest with you, at this point, the more bodies, the merrier. To be completely honest with you, so if we can bring back more people, like let's say we want to do the Bulls deal and they give us two players as opposed to one, or let's go to the Dallas deal and give us two as opposed to one, that's a good thing. I'm a big Dorian Finney-Smith fan as it pertains to this team. I think he's a Swiss Army knife, a multi-position player, defensive minded, can hit a three, athletic, can pull down some boards. That's the type of player I think we need to go after. After Maxi Kleba, also another player on that Dallas Mavericks bench who can help us with our depth, power forward position, shooters. So that Dallas Maverick trade looks nice and fine to me. And last but not least, Malik Beasley. To believe it or not, Malik Beasley was actually the one that stood off the page for me. Um, and of course, Buddy Yield's great. If I had to choose between the two, it would be Buddy because I think Buddy's less of a risk. Um, but I'm really really high on Malik Beasley right now. I know what he can do. I know what he can do. He is a pure 3-point shooter of the highest order. At this stage in his career, he's under the radar because he doesn't have a big name. He's played for what, the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So nobody really knows who he is if you're not a close basketball fan. Um, and he has gotten himself in some trouble. So it's probably a buy low situation because I think his value is actually higher than maybe it is at the moment. It should be based for what he does. So I'm a huge fan of what he brings to the table, and if we do that deal, I'll be okay with it. Here's my thing though: Minnesota has D'Angelo Russell, who's making like little more than Dennis Schroeder. I'd want D'Lo back. I know that sounds kind of silly, but I would want D'Lo back. I know we'll have some defensive issues if we bring D'Lo in with Russell Westbrook because neither one didn't play no defense. But I think offensively, that would be a lot of open shots for a gifted scorer. D'Lo knows LA. I think he's matured to a point where he's ready to move on. He can win a ring here, um, and move on from here. I don't think we would keep him, but he would be just a phenomenal weapon that we could have. But I don't know that the Lakers would be interested in bringing him in. I'm not sure that you would see him as an upgrade to Schroeder, in theory, because of his injury issues and things of that nature. But that's just along the lines. I'm greedy, so once you tell me I can get Malik Beasley for Dennis Schroeder, and I look at the contracts, I'm like, well, how about you know what I'm saying? How about D'Lo? How about we go even higher? So at the end of the day, though, Malik Beasley would be a fantastic return for this team. He's a perfect fit. He's exactly what we need, just like Buddy Hield. Same thing. They're both pretty much the same player, to be honest with you. So all of those deals look great. I also said I like Laurie Markkinen. I would love to have Laurie Markkinen ourselves. I think that he would be a good combination, um, center, stretch five, stretch four. to put on our team. Once again, a defensive liability to the highest order. He is basically Matador defense turnstiles. He's one of the worst. But what he can do in stretching the floor is what exactly we need. So if the Lakers were to somehow land Lauri Markkanen, I don't think I'd be too upset about that. But I just understand he's a huge defensive liability. So I heard that the Lakers are now interested in possibly looking at some other names. Some other names are being floated around, being linked to the Lakers. A guy on my wish list, Kelly Olynyk, of whom I thought was way out of our price target, is actually linked to us. He has some interest. He would have to take the vet minimum. That's way less than he deserves. But if for some reason we let Schröder walk, if we don't get a deal for Schröder, we might be able to fit him in some of that price tag, some of that lost with money that he would be leaving on the table, that could be given to a guy like Kelly Olynyk. So I like the idea of trying to get that particular player. I look at him as a guy who's going to be basically an all-star caliber producer on a discount. Because what he did with the Rockets last year, he should be asking for about at least a multi-year deal. Forget the numbers on the framework. He should be able to demand a 3-year deal. So obviously we wouldn't be giving him that. So I would be super thrilled if we could somehow work magic and get him to take a pay cut. Another name that I'm hearing a lot that I think would be pretty good for us is Patty Mills. Patty Mills is a guy who's been rumored to leave the Spurs for 1,000,000 years, but has never actually done it. He's one of those guys who, every year it seems like he's rumored to either go to the Knicks or something like that, the Lakers, but he never actually ends up leaving the Spurs. So this may be the year that he finally leaves the Spurs. He's one of the more consistent backup shooting guards ever, basically, in my mind. He's like somebody you can just pencil in to give you production no matter how many minutes you give him. He's going to be a monster. Even right now as we speak, he's out there kicking butt for the Australian team. He's just a consummate pro, a true Spur, and somebody that you can trust. So, and he's still fairly young, even though he seems like he's been in the league for 1,000,000 years. I don't even think he's 30 yet. So that's somebody I would be more than happy to bring in. And he'd just give us one more guy that we can count on to shoot. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm actually looking at him as a priority, to be honest with you, especially since we lost KCP. A guy like him is exactly what we could use. So there was some other names on that list that were pretty solid. But if anything, I'm just saying if we could take the best shooters on that list, we get them. Dwight Howard's another name that I saw on that list that I'm thinking the Lakers should definitely bring back. If there's any possible way we can get D12 back on this team, we need to do that immediately. just get him back. He stabilizes things for our center position, and we haven't been right since he left. Get him back here. And so that's along the lines of what I'm thinking, man. I love the idea that we have Dennis Schröder and Alex Caruso as players that are either going to be sign and trade players or players that are going to be coming off our books, because I think that that's going to be the meat and potatoes of what we're able to do in terms of working players into our cap. That's going to be what we have to work with. It's basically those two salaries. So I'm expecting Magic to be worked. I'm expecting us to do some really good things here. Obviously, Rudy Gay and Carmelo Anthony are all but secure at this point. I expect them to be Lakers at the vet minimum. I think that that's almost a surefire bet. I don't know about Lou Williams, but I assume that he would probably come along. You got a lot of guys. Like I said, it's a lot of guys who are ready to stand in line. A guy like Markieff Morris is probably going to be coming back, which I welcome. Still got to take a look at Drummond. I read somewhere that he's looking for money, so hopefully that means he's not going to be coming back. I would rather not have him, just because I think that he's a little less than athletic at this point in his career, even though he's a young player. I remember him when he was drafted, he was jumping out the gym. I didn't see none of that in purple and gold, so I think he could use to a little bit of weight loss, to be honest with you, and a full training camp with whatever team he's going to be on, because it was kind of hard working him into the equation. I'd imagine it's going to be even worse with Russell Westbrook here, so he didn't really fit. But all in all, I just look at this as a unique situation that the Lakers are in. trying to build around these 3 players. It's a good luxury to have, but it has to be done correctly. So, as far as I'm concerned, if we can parlay Dennis Schroeder into one of those 4 packages, I think all of those packages are going to be helpful to the Lakers. Every last one of them could be helpful. My personal favorite, let's go back and get Buddy. If we made a deal to get Buddy, it's only right to go get him. You know what I mean? Don't leave him hanging in Sacramento. They have a log jam at the shooting guard, point guard position. Even though I look at him as somebody who can play the 3, he's a natural 2, and they got like 100 2s over there. Like it's absolutely ridiculously log jammed in Sacramento. So he's obviously dreaming about being a Laker, as he always has, and it's right for us to go ahead and get him if we can. So that's what I'm hopeful we'll do. And that's really what I got to say. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.